almost 2025, and that means that a lot of people are dreaming about the new year. What can we achieve? What are some goals that we can set? And we're constantly thinking about the future. But it is also important to actually look back and to think about, okay, what did I do in 2024 that I really don't like, that I don't want to have in 2025? And from there, you set some goals. But I also believe there are certain things that we should all leave behind. And today I wanted to mention 5 of those because there are so many things that I see online that we should just get rid of. So let me share with you 5 things that you should leave behind in 2024. Hey, and welcome to today's video. Now, like I said, I want to share with you 5 things that I believe everybody should leave behind in 2024, but this is definitely not a list that covers everything. But this is just 5 things that I personally am going to work on leaving behind. And I think this is something that everybody can benefit from, but there are so many things that we should get rid of that we really don't need in our life. But I'm just going to stick to the 5 here. Now, the first one is one of the most important ones, and that is fear of men. And what I mean by that is that a lot of times we put so much emphasis and so much importance into what other people think of us that we don't want to wear the dress because I know that, I don't know, my friend doesn't like the dress, or I am not going to post this picture because I know my mom is on Instagram and she probably doesn't like when I wear this hat, or I don't know, when I make this bread, or whatever it might be. There are so many things that we can think about, and where we actually think about, okay, what do these people think of it? Instead of, okay, do I actually want to post this, first of all? And is this something that God asks of me? Because that is something, and that is mostly the point that I wanted to work towards, is our fear of God needs to be bigger than our fear of men. And that is something that I actually heard in a sermon the other day, and it really did something to me. And I thought to myself, this is absolutely something I want to work on in 2025. Because, for example, I talked about this with a friend the other day on Instagram, and she said, I have so many things that I want to share that I know that God asks of me, and that are things that I know other people will love, that I know that can help them. But it is also something that actually gets a lot of backlash. And she was like, oh, I really want to do it, but it's so hard. And we were talking back and forth because I think a lot of people struggle with that. And we were just talking about it, how we can do certain things or we can not do certain things just because we are afraid of what reactions we might get. And especially in this digital age, there are so many things that people say online that can be really hurtful. But in the end, if the Lord tells you to post a certain thing on Instagram or to post a certain video on YouTube, whatever it might be, if that is something that the Lord asks of you, then we should do it no matter what, because it doesn't really matter what the people think of us. It matters what God thinks of us, and we just need to obey what He asks of us. But the most important thing that you should definitely get rid of in 2024 is fear of men. You don't want to think constantly, okay, what is he or she going to think about it? You just need to be able to be yourself, to do what God asks of you without thinking about what other people will think of you. So fear of men is definitely something that you can leave behind in 2024. Now, the next one is comparison for the wrong reasons. And I say for the wrong reasons because there are moments in life where you can totally compare yourself to other people, and it doesn't have to be something negative. Sometimes it's really good to do that, and sometimes it can help you to do better or to be better in what you're doing. So it's not always bad, but a lot of times we actually compare ourselves to others, and it can actually get 2 reactions out of us. One, it can say, okay, I'm never good enough. I will never be that good. Everything I have is wrong. I will never live up to that. So you completely shut down and you don't do anything, which is wrong, obviously. So you can really look up to people and it can really numb you. But another reaction could be you look at other people and you think, oh, wow, I am so good I'm so good with everything that I do. I am amazing. Look at me. I mean, what does she have? She looks horrible. And you can start comparing yourself in a very negative way that way, and you can really think of yourself very highly because you see other people wearing shoes that are less expensive or living in a house that is not as big as yours, and you can really start to feel really good about yourself. And that is also a wrong reason to compare. It is not good to look at other people and to think of yourself less or better than another person. It really should just be to help yourself grow. So really stop comparing yourself for the wrong reasons. And one of the most simple ways to do that is to look at social media less. I have been on Instagram and on Pinterest, and I've seen many pictures where one of those two reactions started to come up in my life. So you could see a picture of a home that is really messy and think, I'm not doing that bad. My house actually is clutter-free. But I also have seen people where I thought, oh, I wish I had her house. I wish I had this. And you can start getting in that ungratefulness mindset. And that is also not good. So social media is really a spot where you easily get those reactions. I still watch YouTube videos just because I want to learn from those videos. But like I said, it is really, as soon as one of those two reactions start to come up, it's time to shut it down, do something different, and to really focus on the here and the now instead of looking at other people. Don't compare yourself to other people if it is for the wrong reasons. Now, the third one is laziness. And I've actually talked about this quite a bit on my channel because laziness is something that I have struggled with for years. There were so many moments in my life where I was just like, I don't want to do it, so I'm not going to do it. And that is just laziness. And that is not okay. There are so many Bible verses in the Bible, obviously, that talk about laziness and how God really hates laziness. Now, that is not to say that sometimes you need to take rest, because rest is extremely powerful and extremely important. I mean, God rested on the seventh day, so it is very important to rest. But there's a big difference between laziness and rest. Laziness usually comes from, I don't want to do it, I don't feel like it, I want to do this, I want to focus on something I want to do instead of doing something that I have to do. Laziness comes from a very self-centered standpoint, whereas rest actually comes from just something that you need. Everybody needs to sleep. There's nothing wrong with sleep. That is something that is very important. But you really need to always think about, okay, is this because I just don't want to do it? Or is this because I really am just very tired? I went to bed very late, or I was up all night with the baby, or I've been working 80 hours this week, so I actually need to rest. There's a very big difference between needing a rest, needing a break, or being lazy. And laziness is something that we need to leave behind in 2024. Now, number 4 is ungratefulness. And I actually talked about it a little bit in number 2, where I talk about comparison, because ungratefulness is something that often comes from a point of comparing, where you look at other people online and you think, oh, I wish I had that house. I wish I had this. I wish I had that. And then you start looking at what you have and you start to look at, okay, I don't have that big house. I need a bigger house. I don't have those nice shoes, so I need better shoes. And you start to look at all the things you should have in order to look like that other person. And that can really mean that you become very ungrateful with the life you have. And ungratefulness is something that actually is talked about a lot in the Bible too. It talks so many times about being thankful, being grateful, showing our praise to God, showing our gratefulness to Him, because being grateful is really one of the most important things. Just seeing, okay, what do I actually have? There are so many things in life that we have that we just take for granted. Having a roof over your head, having a bed to sleep in, having clothes to wear, having food to eat. There are so many things that we take for granted that is actually something to be very grateful for. So you might start a gratitude journal where you write down 5 things every single day that show your gratefulness. Or maybe you do that in your prayer life, where every morning during your quiet time, you mention 4, 5, 6, however many things to God that you're grateful for. You can always start with saying, Lord, I'm so grateful for everything you've done for us. I'm so grateful that you sent your son. I'm so grateful that I'm safe by you. I'm so grateful for the home that I have. So many things that you can tell him every single day that you're grateful for. And you will feel and you will see that as soon as you start to do that, and as soon as you start focusing on gratefulness, that you will feel so much better. And then you will actually notice that a lot of things that you thought you really needed, you don't really need actually. And you will feel that you are just grateful for what you have. You are grateful that you are saved by God and that you can actually look forward instead of saying, okay, I need all those things to be happy. So ungratefulness, leave it behind in 2024. Now, number 5, and the last one I wanted to mention today, is worry. We need to stop worrying about all those things. And in Matthew, it actually talks about how we should look at the field and look at all the beautiful flowers and look at the animals and how they have food, how they actually are taken care of by God. And why do we worry then about what we should wear, what we should eat, what we need to do tomorrow? we shouldn't worry that much because God takes care of all his creatures. He takes care of everything that he created. So why do we worry so much about what we need to wear and what we need to eat? So God actually tells us in his word that we shouldn't worry so much. Why do we still do this? And I'm talking to myself here as well, because that is something that I still struggle with sometimes. But it's really important to not worry as much and to just look at what do you have. And it all ties in together because it has to do with gratefulness and it has to do with comparing yourself to others. But really looking at, okay, what do I have? And do I really need to worry about what I have to eat tomorrow? And do you really need to worry about all the things that are going on in the world? Or can you just focus on your own family, focus on what God has given you, focus on what you can actually do something about, and put your trust in him and seek his kingdom first? Because it actually says, seek first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be given to you. And those things that it talks about in that verse is actually mentioned above. And that is what they speak about in the verse before that, or the verses before that. And that is what you wear and what you eat. So you don't worry about it. You seek his kingdom. You seek what he wants you to do. You seek what he wants to tell you. And then he will take care of the rest. So really leave that worry behind in 2024. Now, like I said, those are just 5 things that I believe everybody should leave behind in 2024, but there are so many more things. So really pray about it. Really think about, okay, Lord, what can I leave behind in this year and what can I look forward to in 2025? Because goal setting and looking forward to the new year has a lot to do with also looking back. So really pray about it and ask God, what can I leave behind in 2024 and what can I look forward to in 2025? So I really pray that this was helpful to you, and if it was, feel free to subscribe, and I would love to see you in my next video.